Hey guys, welcome back to the Rider Waxing and UK One Wheel channel. Now, for you people that follow my channel, you'll see there is no skis or snowboards on my bench. I am back on the Classic Mini. Yes, I am. This bad boy just here. Now, I've done quite a few episodes and yeah, I've obviously had my hands tied up in other stuff, but we have done a few bits and bobs off camera. Little things like powder coating. I have found the world of powder coating, so anything I can get my hands on, I'm powder coating. Just because it's clean, it's tidy, it looks nice, and it's quite durable. Now, I'm going to pop a picture of my drive shaft up on the screen. Not a very good picture, but it's a picture. And I expect you're looking at that now. That is pretty minging. And there we go. That is the new version. Nice and clean, nice and tidy. Obviously, the long end, short end, I kept them all in separate boxes. We've cleaned up all the CV joints. We've obviously got new grease, we've got new gaiters, we've got new clips, and a whole lot. And I'm going to attempt now, as I've said in all my videos, but if this is the first video you're watching, I am no technician, I am no mechanic, I am no fitter. I am somebody who has a car that I've had since I was 16 and I am now 47, the same car, and I've tinkered with it basically the whole of my life, and kind of like I teach myself stuff as I go along. And I make mistakes, and yeah, some stuff I'm quite successful with, purely by fluke, I think. But we're going to try and rebuild these drive shafts. I think I've done it before, and when I say I think, I've taken them apart in different stages, but I've never had them completely off. One thing I did have to look up is this thing. I could not remember which way that went round. Now, that goes around that way, but obviously you put it on through here, like so. So. Is it that way? Yes, it is that way, like that. Hey, I had to double check again. So that is how that goes on. So for all you people that are trying to build a drive shaft, a bit like me, you have no idea, then obviously do pay attention. For all you people that are excellent at building stuff like this and are making mistakes, then just laugh and smile and give me a thumbs up. So here we are. First thing first, I think I've got to get that on and the bearings on. I think if I build one, then it'll make the second one a little bit easier, opposed to trying to build two and muck two up. Now, obviously that goes, the circlip has come out of that goes on that end, and this goes on this end. Now, I've already put the bearings in, which are going to fall out, no doubt. The cap is on, and that's nice and tight. We've got to pop that bearing just in there, and we're going to pack this with grease, and then hopefully, if I just quickly loosely fit that, I'm taking it, that might be easier up this way, and now this is where there'd be a knack for this kind of stuff. There we go. So that sits in there, and that's the drive shaft. Then we stick the gaiter on. So that's quite straightforward, but I need to put some grease in here. So let's open up the bag. We've got some MG Rover bag, box. And now we have the stubby one that goes on this end, and then we have the big flary one, which is like that, goes on the CV joint end. Let's take these. That's the only thing I haven't got is a pair of pliers to do these things up. So I've got to do that. So let's get that sorted in a minute. Right, grease, lovely jubbly, gloves. Oh, that's quite cool. Right, okay. So scissors off my bench. Here we go. Let's do a nice little angle there. We can squeeze that in. Let's pop the rubbish in the bags. Get rid of that. Let's make some mess, shall we? We'll pop that on. Let's pop that on now before the grease decides to go absolutely everywhere. Now, it might pay to put these in a tub of hot water just to soften them up, but then I'm going to get water in there, so maybe not. Let's just squeeze this over that ring. There we go. It goes on there quite nicely. Now, I am talking to myself because I'm trying to work this out as I go along. Let's put some grease in the end of here first. Oh, okay, none of those fell out quite yet. There we go, there's the first one. So if we put some of this colour down every bearing race, and the bearing can run down through it. There we go. So kind of put grease in there, and then we're going to pop some grease in these. Thought I'd get more grease, to be honest, but maybe You don't need to put too much. Put some on the end. It goes quite a long way, does the grease. Right. Put that in there. Put that in there. And then we'll try and squeeze the rest of this grease out. Put every last bit. Go over there. Now, I'm going to be, as much as I don't like a troll, I do like help. And if anybody has seen what I've done here is wrong, then obviously do feel free to comment, because I am more than happy to take it apart and redo it again. I'm all about constructive criticism. Now, one thing I haven't put on is that. So I will need to do that in a bit. But we've got to build that up, and I don't have the pliers for that. Now, I do have a guy who has them, so I'll need to do that at a later date, because that sits on the inner side, and obviously then you've got the outer one. So I do need to do that, otherwise it will fall off. So I'm going to leave those just there for a second. At least that end is kind of built, and there we go. One end of the drive shaft. Looks quite nice, doesn't it? Other end, right, so got some grease in there. I'm going to take this bag. We've got a bit of grease there. Now, I bought these from mini spares. You can buy obviously them from anywhere. And I went for the premium ones. Now, I don't know if they really do, that makes a massive difference. And again, I really do not know. Take the little C-clip out, because that is a little C-clip which is just there, and that goes on the end of the dry shaft here. Now I take it this will locate in. There we go, so that's on. Obviously it does fit loosely, because that pops in here. So if you're ever taking one of these out, you've really got to pull it and it pops off. So yeah, and I take it this stop is a stop, so it sits within the threaded part, which is just inside there. That makes sense to me. Anyway, right, one thing you mustn't forget to do is put that on and then realise you haven't put that on. So we need to get this on. Now this may need to be warmed up, because this end here is extremely tight, and maybe I should have put the C-clip in afterwards. There we go, first rookie mistake, that's why I will, so let me just go and warm this up in a jug of water to make it a little bit more pliable, because this garage is quite cold, and hopefully we better stretch that over there quite nicely, because that sits on there, and then we're pretty much done. We've got to put some grease in now. There's a lot more grease in that one. So bear with me a second, let's warm up this CV boy. Right, that's been sat for a few minutes, so let's just see how more pliable that is, shall we? Already does feel actually a little bit more softer, but we've got to make sure we get all the water out. So quickly, no water in there now. And that is a lot easier. A lot easier. Right. Okie dokie. Let's pull that out of the way for the minute. So there we go. We've got the CV boot on there, and now we've got to put the CV on. So we're going to squeeze an air gap into this, and we're going to put some grease in here now. I'm making this up as I go along. So yeah, please do bear with me. I am on the fly, as they say. Right, so that is good in there. So I've got to give this a tap, I reckon. There we go. That's now on. Hey! If in doubt, give it a whack. There we go. That's not coming off, so that's good. Right, bit of a clean up. We'll get a bit more grease in there, because now we're running this way around. That's all good. Right, pump a bit more grease in there. Not really quite sure how much to put in, but I think if I work it all in, the CV boot will hold it in, and I can imagine there'd be a fair bit of a void the other side of that drive shaft. There we go. Clean it off from where the CV boot's going to join. So there we go. Lovely jubbly. Right. This. Now that will evaporate, just to help that come up the shaft. A bit of brake cleaner, and bingo. That's on. I take it that goes up to the groove. Not that you get too much of that, but you do get a little bit. Maybe not that high up. Maybe just above that groove. There we go. So yeah, I don't know if anybody can tell me though. I'll publish this video and I won't put the circlips on in this video, because I just need to know if this sits above that groove or not. And then if any of you lovely people out there could advise me, that'd be much appreciated. Much appreciated. So there we go. Relatively simple, to be honest. Yeah, so basically I've got my subframe and that all done. I've got a bit more welding to do. I've got, let me show you my brake reservoir, because that's something that's quite cool. There we go, that's built. Right, this bad boy here. Now, if you haven't seen this guy's channel, it's called Coffee and Wood. His name's Marcus. He does on Instagram, is like the Project Bonnie. He's putting a 3.2 litre all-wheel drive Audi setup in a Mini. Now his fabrication skills are phenomenal. It's up there with Project Pinky, but just this guy does everything on his own, makes everything, lays everything. It's just, the knowledge of fabrication is just unbelievable. And he had this, which is the bulkhead. Obviously I've got the brake pedal system, which if you go back to my previous videos you'll see. And he basically, this is carbon filament, so carbon fibre filament, and he's actually made this. And I saw it on one of his channels that mounts to the bulkhead, and it's such a tidy piece of work. There's a little bit of fettling to do with it, which is obviously understandable, which I've got to do. And And I messaged him through Instagram. I said, any chance you can make me one? £90 he charged me for that. Now, some of you might go, wow, that's really expensive. I don't think it is, because I couldn't find this anywhere, and the workmanship is phenomenal, and it's made out of carbon fibre filament, so it's super strong. I've got to do a bit of sanding just on the inside here to pull these gaps in, but it fits lovely. We've got, obviously, a turn-down screw, so we've got a captive nut in there, and yeah, it's just a work of art. So that's going to sit on my bulkhead. Cables, brake line's going to come in and go straight through because it's going to be nice and clean. And obviously we've got 3 reservoirs because we have a bias on the brakes either side. So we've got 2 cylinders for that, front and rear, and we've got a clutch, which is really cool. Yeah, really happy with that. Really happy with that. So that's going in the car. I thought I'd share that. I put it on Instagram, but nobody has really seen a video on it. So that's going to be going in the car. I've, like I say, cleaned up my subframe, cleaned up the seats. That's all ready to go. I've got my pedal box all down here. I've got a couple more dry fits on the pedal box just because I've got to work out on the throttle cable. So I've got some tubing here. I bought an injection throttle cable just purely and simply again for mini spares. I've got some tubing, so I've got to do a little bit of bend work. I've got to dry fit the subframe in just to make sure that where the cable comes out, because this brake kit that I got, and again, I'm not going to moan about it anymore. It's meant to be a direct replacement. It really is not a direct replacement. If you go back, you'll see the brake pedal fitment and the reason why it's not a direct replacement. Quite a lot of fabrication's gone into that. So I'm going to weld some blind studs on the back of my bulkhead, and obviously I'm going to mount the brakes reservoir on there. And yeah, basically I've got a bracket to mount for the carbon dash, still to go in. I've ordered some more bits from Carbon Weasel. Totally ahead of schedule, but I couldn't help myself. Mark 1 Cooper S grill, like I've got a chrome one at the moment, but that's going to be all carbon fibre headlight rings, carbon fibre canards which go up the side of the wings, and a carbon fibre battery box holder. So we're going to make some brackets to mount on the floor, and I'm going to weld in some bracketry as well to hold my seats in permanently and weld up the floor holes as well. So got a fair bit of fabrication to do, but the reason why I want to get the drive shafts done, because I want to get to a point where I can actually go back to a rolling shell. So I want to get the engine bay painted, fabricated, everything's done in there, that's all sorted, fit then the subframe, get the drive shafts all in, get the wheels back on, and it's just really waiting to accept the engine, of which I nearly bought an 8-port engine. There's a gentleman on Facebook Marketplace and he's got an 8-port engine for sale. I just could not stretch the funds, which is a real shame, because I've taken out that really big engine, just dumped it straight in my car, and it would have just been awesome. All the fuel injection stuff, again, going over to an AIM dash, so that's coming. Like I say, this is a slow project, but this is my bucket list, kind of trying to build my dream Mini. I was going to buy one, and I thought, why don't I just fabricate and work on my own car? It's a bit like having a job. You know, people moan about their job, just invest the ground you're working on, make your grass greener that you stood on. Don't go try looking for other green grass somewhere else. That's my motto, so that's what I'm going to do to my car. I'm rambling on. I'm going to build this drive shaft. I'll see you in a minute, and then we'll have a look at both of them finished. Here we go. There we go. Apologies before for rambling on. I just wanted to bring you up to date with what's going on with my car, because it has been rather a long time, and I have had quite a few people message going, when are you doing a mini video? When are you doing a mini video? So here we go. Here's a mini video. But yeah, this one here, the longer one, was a bit of a pain. The actual C-clip which I replaced and put on it actually bent and broke. So that's obviously from trying to hammer it on. Put the other one back on, and it just went on an absolute, well, I'll say on a treat. You still had to hammer it on, but it went on as well as that one did with the new clip. So we're going to stick with that as we move forward. We've still got to put on the clips. Basically, we've got the inner and outer, and then we've got the lower and the higher one. But yeah, they're all built up. Absolutely all built up, because I I want to keep it to a rolling shell, but they're looking really snazzy. And again, apologies for rambling on earlier. I just wanted to bring you up to speed, as I've said. But that's it, guys. Building drive shafts. Hopefully I haven't done too much wrong. If I have, message me and I will obviously undo it and redo it. And then when I do the next video, I'll tell everybody what a plonker I was and what I needed to have done in the first place. So if you are watching these videos and you are learning like I am, then obviously we can learn together, and we can obviously, I'm more than happy to make a mistake as I go along. Like I say, this is live in real time. It's not like I've built 3 or 4. So I apologise if it's taken some time. But guys, there we go. That's 2 drive shafts built in the Rider Waxing and UK One Wheel Channel workshop on my ski bench. I've got so much to do to my car. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share with your friends. But until next time, we will see you soon.